We're going to use ChatGPT to perform a DuPont analysis to compare the financial performance for Ford, General Motors, and Tesla. See if we can isolate the differences between them. To start, let's go ahead and open a new chat, or just type in start a new chat, and let's go ahead and bring in the data. And so we'll bring in that data, and we can see that various data for Ford and for General Motors and for Tesla. Now we can see the various years here, and we can see for GM and Tesla and each of them. So it doesn't seem exactly clear, so let's go ahead and specify and tell ChatGPT what we're doing. And so we want columns titled with an F to be for Ford, GM, General Motors, and Tesla, TSLA for Tesla. And that kind of sets it up so we can tell it exactly what we want it to do. So ChatGPT knows what DuPont analysis is, and I guess it can go and look for those details. One of the things we could do is ask it to provide a data dictionary so it knows exactly what's being provided here, but it looks like the descriptors are pretty good. And so let's go ahead and ask it to do that. So they'll calculate DuPont ratios for each company and display the formulas used so we can verify that, and then display the trends using line charts for the various computations of return on sales, asset turnover, equity multiplier, and for the overall return on equity. So as you recall, DuPont analysis provides some disaggregated information so that we can explain return on equity. And so that's essentially what we're doing here, and we're going to ask it to provide that. Now, we have used a term DuPont ratios, and it's kind of a commonly known thing, and we want to make sure that ChatGPT understands it the same we understand it. And so as we ask it to display the formulas used, we can verify that it is doing it the way we want to. And so we're able to check that and verify it, make sure there's not a hallucination. Maybe I said some word that it doesn't actually understand very well. So it looks like it's returned the graphs here. One of the things we probably need to do is determine which is which, because it didn't actually tell us, and that's a constraint or issue associated with this, right? Which is which, and we may actually need it to tell us that. So we probably need to specify that a little further. We also need to verify the computations used, and this may or may not be what you use, because there's a lot of possible ways to explain various calculations, but you can kind of see what these look like, and this might allow us to go back up and verify each of these in terms of ROE and the various component parts, but we're able to kind of compare them to each other. You can see in general it looks like Tesla has had a higher ROE over time, but there is a 1 year difference. We're also able to just try to isolate this, and we may need to say please label these directly. And so you can see some additional work needs to be done to see exactly which is which, but we're also able to do that through this table here. And ask it to add labels. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's ask it to add company labels to the chart. Kind of surprised it didn't do that by default, but again, it is an assistant. It is working at our side to evaluate each of these. Now, this prompt wasn't given in the materials, and you can kind of expect that because it is generative, because it showed up one time in one version of the chatbot, it may or may not show up in the future. And so you can see that there might be some variability. Okay, so you can kind of see now this said for General Motors and Tesla, and so we can see that all the way through, and so you can see what they look like. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and take that final line chart, and so that this would be the return on equity. That's the final one, and ask it to produce that. And save it as this file so we know specifically what it is, and as an output. After it does that, after we output it, we're going to actually ask it to display the prompts that it gave us. And we didn't ask for it to be in a Word file, so it's just going to show up on the screen. Okay, so here we can see the ROE chart, and we can output that to download the file, and it will be in our download folder, and then ask it to display the prompts that we gave it. Okay, so you'll see in this lab we actually had to work with it a little bit. We had to ask for some additional information and add these company labels, and you can kind of expect you'll have to do that. So so let's say you didn't notice that, now you're trying to explain it to someone else. You might be stuck, and so we have to work alongside it. So that completes this lab.